Welcome to this look at the latest incarnation of Welker Farms on Farming Simulator 25 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on Welker Farms. This has been brought over to this evolution of the game by Mapper's Paradise. 508.59 megabytes to download, no required mod to download. We have got some in the build mode that have been added in by Mapper's Paradise. It says there are 25 collectibles. I haven't found any. Now it's interesting because Welker Farms, we've had various different iterations of this on various different iterations of the game, and then there have been updates to said iterations. This has got the sort of FS25 look and feel to it. It has a more, I think, a more gritty, realistic feel, I think. But this version is one of the, what's the best way to put it, sparser versions, I think. A lot's been left for you to add to if you want to, but we've got the Welker Farms buildings. Now, if you're new to Farming Simulator, if you don't know what Welker Farms is, Welker Farms is a YouTube channel. The Welker family, Bob the father, Nick and Scott the sons, and their families run Welker Farms. They're famous for the fact they've got big bud tractors, which they run massive things, and they've just finished rebuilding a new one, an old one, but they've made it new. 700 horsepower. It's an absolute monster. So that's kind of what they're famous for. Now, I want to be straight up and honest from the outset. The thumbnail, the big buds that I put on, because it's a big bud farm, and I've put on the thing, big buds optional. There are some big bud mods, classic American Icons mods. This one, yeah, one of those. Have got some nice big bud mods. I put those mods in to do the thumbnail because I thought it can't be a Welker Farms map tour without a big bud. You don't actually start with any on the actual start farm, new farmer, anything like that. We'll talk about slot count while we're here. It's 876 on new farmer, and it's 688 on farm manager and start from scratch. And the difference is you don't start with any equipment machinery on farm manager and start from scratch. There are no custom crops available, but contracts are available. The map looks like this, which is what the Welker Farms map has always looked like because it's Welker Farms. But this is an updated version of it, so it has some extra bits on it, like this bit here, and it has this bit up here, which went on previous ones. There are some things I'm trying to remember from previous versions. There are some bits that are potentially missing. On previous versions of this, there's been loads of things down here. Now, these are all open areas for you to place stuff. For whatever productions and stuff you want to do here, that plot can be purchased for 305. Just over 305. This plot, if you purchase it, plot 24, there's a little farmhouse there. You get a sleep and wardrobe trigger on it. And we've got a debris crush there. We'll get down to that later on. Like I said, on a previous version of this, there was a treasure hunt. And you started your treasure hunt here in the yard. And you went round and you would find treasure. I haven't found anything regarding the treasure hunt. As far as field prices go, they're not bad. They're what you'd expect for the size, I guess. For example, 221 grand for a fairly small one. And we come to, say, a more medium one, maybe that one there. 686 odd. Then we start moving up to the larger ones up here. 773. Then this one here, I think it's over 1 million, isn't it? 1.5. This one's not too bad, 705. We're going to have to buy that one. And because that one's got something on it, well, actually we don't need to, but we will buy it. Because that has got a sleep and wardrobe trigger on as well. Now, as far as what we start with on new farmer then, if we go across to farmland, I've just bought that, so obviously ignore that. You don't normally start with that, but you do start with this plot here, which has got a placeables area on it. There's another placeables area there. You start with the main farm in this field here. You start with this field above there, and you start with this plot here. So a few fair sized fields to be getting on with, which is pretty good. So you can get crack-a-lacking straight away. Now, shall we talk about... Oh, we'll do build mode as well. Under build mode, we've got sheds added in. There you go, Welker Farms sheds. I'm sure some of this stuff has come out already from Mapper's Paradise as separate mods, and it's nice they've just included them straight in. They've just put it into the map. I like that. Under silos, we have got some silos down here as well. So we've got these bins, these bins here. There we go. That small silo. Then we've got the medium and a large. 980,000 each, 1.1 million litres each, and 1.8 million litres each. These are all standard crop type silos as well. They're not multi-fruits. And the containers, we've got some stuff here in the yard as well. Diesel tanks, of different ones. And then we've got the seed silo there, which is 200,000 litre. We'll see that later on. The tools, we have got the workshop, which is the main Welker farm workshop. And then we've got the farmhouse, which is, I think, the father's farmhouse. I think that one might be Bob Welker, the father's farmhouse. Let me just double check. No, it's not. That farmhouse there is the one that is... that's over on that plot I was talking about. We've got a couple there. So we've got all these ones here that have been added in. Now, again, it depends if you're a fan of Welker Farms or not. What have I missed? Farmhouse. Oh, the other thing as well. Sorry, there was one more. And that was under paint. There's quite a few paint textures available of various different sorts for painting your ground. So, yeah, so as I was saying, it depends whether you're a fan of Welker Farms or not. If you're not, it will mean nothing to you, but the family live here on the main farm plot. Bob Welker, the father's house, is over there. And then the sons, Nick and Scott, live in static homes round behind. But over the last 18 months, possibly even 2 years now, both of them have been building their own homes on the property. Now, their property, I'm sure it's something like 10,000 acres. It's a massive farm, and it spreads over a large area. Now, obviously, this map is a sort of ported down version of that, a smaller version. But what Mappers Paradise have done is they've actually put Nick and Scott's new homes onto the map, which obviously previous version this didn't have. So anyway, I'm pretty sure as well some of these buildings are a sort of simplified pared down version, because other versions of these I'm sure had a gym in it and stuff like that. These are very just standard. It's a shed type thing, and obviously if you watch their channel, they have very, very big seeder setups. They run big buds. We don't start with any of that equipment, but there's plenty of it available. There's Borgo seed drills and all sorts of stuff, Seed Hawk stuff. If you want to go big, and there are big buds, if you want to replicate the stuff, you absolutely can. But we've got our seeder and cultivator just, or disc harrow, seeder and disc harrow in the shed just here. Next to that, we've got a large diesel tank. This one is a 50,000 litre, which you refill yourself, just there. Small shed here, with garage door there and a couple of garage doors to the side there for storage of equipment, machinery, whatever you want to put in there. Then the main vehicle workshop, just in here. I watched the entire, I keep saying the new bit, it's new to them, but it is a new big bud for all intents and purposes. Watching their build of it in this shed, and I love when you get maps of somewhere or something you know. Now, what's nice about this is, a while ago, I say recently, it was a while ago, they got a trial on and use of one of these from Case. They've got a strong relationship with Case, so it's nice that's been put in. So you do start with this, which is it's a fair sized track to be cracking on with. But remember, farm management start from scratch, no equipment and machinery. We come through the workshop here. There's very different things that kind of stand out as being, accurate to the main Welker Farms workshop. We've got our cultivator just here, and then the workshop has an office just here. And there's our trigger for our workshop here in the office. So, come out of here. We've got another diesel tank just here. That's a 10,000 litre. If we come across the back, I can never remember which way around these are, Nick and Scott's, whichever one it is. But anyway, so they moved into their new houses now. We have got a little motorbike there, should you want it. Sleeper and wardrobe trigger on this one is on the outside of this building, just there. Then if we come across the way here, we've got the next one. This one, you can go into this building, we've got a pickup here. I'll use the pickup. I think I'll probably use the pickup to go around the map. I'm trying to work out what's different, what's missing to the previous version. So I'm sure there was more detail stuff here, and there was a signpost you could go and click on. It gave you a clue, and you went from clue to clue to clue. I don't think that's the thing on this one. Anyway, doghouse just over there. We have got a dog, but we'll just go up onto this one and into here. Sleep trigger there, wardrobe trigger. If you go right into this door, it's quite specific points, but there you go for our wardrobe trigger. Back door does open as well if you want to go out the back, so you can walk around as well. Shed space just over here in that little building there. Some more shed space in this building here, and then the main farmhouse with sleep and wardrobe trigger just here. I think the wardrobe trigger's around the side. There we go, just there. So that in essence is the main farm. We grab the pickup. Actually, round the back of there we've got the horseshoe of bins. It's interesting as well over time. I mean, I've been watching Welker farms for years now. Seeing how, because they've got a, like any farm, they have like a pile of shame, you know, a scrap pile, junk pile that is useful for a long period of time. You know, you use stuff, old bits of machinery, and you can go and grab parts, and it's great as a big parts bin. But I suppose over time, once you've used all the parts you're likely to use, it then just becomes, you know, and they've sort of gradually been clearing bits up and tidying stuff up. And over the last few years, they've added new bins in across the whole farm. They've got loads of new bins they've put in and put up, which is pretty cool. So we've got this horseshoe of bins here. Sprayer system, just there. Auger wagon chaser bin. And then we got this large case here with planter on the back, the Kinsey. And then this horseshoe of bins. There are 9 bins here. Now these bins, most of the ones here at the farm, there's one silo you don't have to. These are ones you put in at the top, take out at the bottom, and you are going to need these. You do start with 2. This one here and one over at the other bin site. These each hold 980,000 litres. So the 9 bins combined gives you 8,820,000 litres worth of storage. All standard crop type. But the cool thing with that is you can put each individual crop you're doing in each individual bin if you want to. That's up to you, of course. So there we go. That's the horseshoe just there. Now we're going to do a kind of weird, well, I say weird route round. It's just the route that made most sense to me. There's a bit of cutting across, there's a bit of up and back, but you'll see where we're on the map. It's fairly straightforward, and it's big sky country. It's flat as a pancake out to the mountains. Not all of Montana is like this, but this bit is. And again, this is a condensed version. They're near Shelby, Montana, and that's, you know, the little town over there. I think it's a little bit further away. I think it's cool to see this map. And in all honesty, you know, this is one of those maps that, I mean, I did Prairie Farms, Michigan. I haven't actually ever done a series on this map, considering how much of it I watch. Doing the big bud stuff would kind of make sense, but it wasn't that long ago that I did a big open farmland, you know, big equipment map. So this is Scott's new home, if I recall correctly from the layout. Sleeper wardrobe trigger, and this is on the start farmland that we have on New Farmer. So our triggers, you can't actually open the garage on this one, or garages, or garage doors, but there you go. Because as far as I recall, Scott's home is this one. Yeah, Nick's one is on like a hillside, and it's built into the hillside, which is the second one we'll go to. So I'm pretty sure that's right. So that's the new home. There are quite a lot of sleeper wardrobe triggers on this map. We're going to go up to one more up here. Yes, we are. There's a little sell point area up here. We've got milk cell and bale sell point. I did purchase the land off camera, and there's no sleep triggers or anything like that on there. There is a little farmhouse, but if you buy the land, there's nothing stopping you putting your own sleep triggers in. Like I say, there's no shortage of them, but there's nothing stopping you removing buildings and stuff that are on the map. Again, save your game before you make any changes, because you know you might decide I'm going to remove that building. The building might remove, but the decoration might not. Or, you know, I'm not just saying specifically on this map, but on a lot of maps. So milk sell point just here, bale sell point just here on the map, and we are now here. So we come from the starter farm out there up to where Scott's farm is, new house is, up there, and we're at this point here, milk and bale sell. Now we're going to go down into the, I guess, the main sell point area. There's not a huge amount down there. There's enough to get you going, but again, I like the fact this has been left more open for you to make it yours as well. Well, blimey. Overcooked that. That's what happens when you look down at your notes. Never look down at your notes and drive. Actually, I'm going to cut across the grass here because there's a car coming the other way. So we are heading south. Can I get through that gap? I'm doing what all the cars... No, I can't. Oh my days, what was I thinking? I wasn't. That's the problem. Slow down for that one. So that large facility to our right hand side, that is Shelby Grains. We can just whiz in and have a quick look in there. It's basically just the main sell point, but this is on that big plot down in the southeast corner, and this is part of the plot you can actually purchase. So with regard to, there you go, there's Shelby Grains sell point, but this, all this expanse here, because you can buy it all, means you can add more stuff on. Other sell points or productions, or it just might be decorative items. You might just want to spruce it up and add some stuff that you feel, you know, makes it more your own, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, I like the fact you can buy all of that. And across there you can see all these plots. Now they all have fencing on, so they are sort of separate plots, but they are all bought up under that one payment for all this land. But what we have got here, what were you thinking? Same as I was doing before. It's not clever, it's not smart, and it's certainly not funny. So, just here. Big Sky Equipment. Vehicle Shop, just here. Workshop is out the back. Here, these doors do open. And this is also the reset point for the map. We're on the back here. This is the reset point. Plenty of room for big equipment and machinery. Cool, right, from here. Just going to whiz around the corner. We've got the gas station. And there's a farmer's market sell point. So we've got Shelby Grains and the farmer's market sell point are both here. There's your gas station, just there. And then farmer's market sell point is just here. And we're going to head on to that plot of land that had the has a quarry on it. I'm sure there was a previous version of this as well that had the quarry and didn't have a big siren, like a sort of a blasting siren, so you could turn the siren on prior to quarry work. I'm not dreaming that, am I? I could be. You know me. Right, let's turn in here. Watch out for pedestrians. So down the quarry is a debris crusher. But again, it's that thing, you know, if you want to make it into more of a quarry, there are tons of mods available. And you can bring stone. If you're using the additional fill types by Weasel, there's gravels and all sorts of stuff. So if you really wanted to, the quarry's already here, it's in place. I mean, it would take a bit of setting up, but you bring a ton of stuff down here and pile it all up and then run it as a quarry. If you're setting up a map for friends or multiplayer, or whatever you're doing, but you know, or just for yourself, it's up to you. So debris crusher down the bottom of there, and as I said, this plot can be purchased. And when you buy this plot, you get all of it. You get the quarry, and you get all this little bit, all this forestry here, and then you also get the farmhouse here, which has a sleep wardrobe trigger on it. Once the land is purchased, come across the bridge here, just here. Very pleasant. That's the farmhouse that I was looking at initially. So I'm going to whiz around the back of here. And be careful because the river to my left, so I'm not going to go and try and cut across there just yet. You know, down through the ford, and then we should be able to cut across. So we're going to head west now. Whoa, mama. Okay. Note to self, be careful. I will skirt around the edges of fields. I've said it many times before, it's that thing that's kind of ingrained. I don't always have crop destruction on, even when I'm doing my Let's Plays, but I still try to avoid it as much as possible. Whenever I do map tours, it's that catch-22 thing. People will say to me, I don't know why you bother driving all around the outside when you're doing a map tour, you might as well just drive across it all and get to where you're going quicker. And then the other half of the audience go bonkers if you drive across a crop or you cut corners and stuff. So placeable area just here, we don't own this one. But on the start on New Farmer, you do own this one here. So this placeable area here is owned on New Farmer. Again, do it like, build a farm, whatever you want to do, it's entirely up to you. Then this is the plot we purchased on the map. And this is other way around, this is Nick Welker's farmhouse. House. I suppose it is a house on their farm, so I suppose technically a farmhouse. And like I say, built into the hillside. And he always says, it's great because his looks out over the mountains in the distance. But once you've purchased, sleep wardrobe trigger as well. I have to say the attention to detail on this is incredible. And this was the same thing when they did the a series of videos on the builds of both their houses and all the stuff they were doing when they were getting these massive windows put in. This is like a little corner, almost like a little turret room. It's brilliant. I'm sure, was it one of those windows or one of the others came and it had a crack in it? But they've got this big vaulted ceiling, open area here. It's very, very nice. Anyway, so there you go. That's, again, I'm fanboying, but that's what it is. So another sleep and wardrobe trigger. Right, we are going to head, I was just showing the map. We're going to head down here and across the bottom to there. So, always across. I've got to make sure I go the right way here, because I'm pretty sure if I turn right now, that brings me, this bottom field is an L shape. And I can't actually get across there. There we go, this is the way I want to go. As you can see with all of these plots, there's plenty of overspill, plenty of gap around them. So when you're using big equipment and machinery that needs a bit of turning room, but you also, there's a lot of grass, so there's plenty of room here for doing silage work and stuff like that if you want to. So we're now coming around on the animal dealer. You also notice no NPCs on the map. And again, I always do this when I do a map tour, especially if it's one that's been brought over from a previous version. Has enough been done to make it playable again if you've played it before, or just if you know, if you're following along with, like I say, this is a real place. I think the addition of the 2 new houses adds that additional bit to it. There's our animal dealer. I would, like I say, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Again, there's always that worry that I'm misremembering. I know there have been a few different versions, but also Mappers Paradise they'll work through a process of what worked on previous versions, what didn't work, what feedback did they get, what did people like, what didn't they like. So they'll be making their map based upon feedback they've had from previous versions, like any map maker will do. So it might be just that even if I say, look, it seems like it's a bit sort of pared down, a little bit simpler, not as much detail on it, but again, like I said earlier, there's plenty of scope then for adding so much more in that you can do yourself, because these versions, again, 22 and especially 25 now, with all the things you can do, I think map makers are making allowances for the fact you can do what you like with it. This is root crop sell point just here. And as far as it goes to replicate Welker farms and the maps of previous versions, it does the job of, you go around the yard and it's Welker farms, the bin sites, it's Welker farms, which is kind of what you want for a Welker farms map, don't you? Yeah, I suppose so. Right, gives some idea of the size of the fields. Oof. I said that a while back. I know there's Welker farms is the same, like when they're going right across the farm for harvest or any of it, planting and the rest of it, spraying, and it's a long drive. And it's Mike Mitchell in Saskatchewan. When I watch his channel, I've watched his stuff for quite a while actually, but when I used to watch his stuff, when they got to harvest, they've got like 10 harvesters, and even when they were doing seeding and sowing, whatever it was, and they would drive 6 hours and then harvest back. It was like they would take like a chuck wagon type, it was like that old school system, because you're going to be away from home for a long time. You can't imagine owning that much land that you're travelling for that many hours and it's still your land, or even if it's land you own but it's 6 hours away and it's a lot of ground to harvest. It's crazy. I'm going to go past the bin site first, so we go up here. I mean, to be fair, I could have just shown you on the map, but up here we've got a little bit of forestry, and we've got a sawmill up here tucked away in the trees. So if you do like your forestry, there's a little bit to be getting on with if you want to, or you might want to do some construction projects or whatever it is you might want to do. But there's also nothing to stop you planting trees and doing your own forests. Why not? I used to do it on FS17 when we first got the option. I think 50. I did it on Bjornholm as well, because we didn't have custom maps. We couldn't do stuff like that when I first started playing the game. And I remember spending hours on Bjornholm changing field shapes and planting trees and growing trees. Anyway, there's your sawmill. Sorry, giving you a whole story here. There's the sawmill. Just because I wanted a more custom map, and it wasn't something we had on console at the time, you know. So you can go proper old school if you want to. Reforest an entire area if you wanted, but that's kind of not the point of this map. But do what you like. Once you're on it, it's yours. So, big bin sites coming up. They've got the Quonset big hut here for storage of equipment and machinery. We turn the corner just here. We have got more equipment and machinery. We start off just here. Fertiliser storage. This one is 300,000 litres of solid fertiliser, which you refill from there. Around the corner, as we come round to corn header, just there, for one of our harvesters. They run 2 large case harvesters, Beast Vine. I don't know if I've got a name for the other one. They've got big old LSW tyres on them, from Titan tyres. Then we've got this one is liquid fertiliser storage, and this is 800,000 litres, I think. Yep. So you can refill that as well if you want to. So yeah, we've got one at the moment. We've got one over here, case harvester and large header. We've also got a lorry and trailer. This is a seed tank. This is the 200,000 one, and this can be refilled from here, just there. And over here we have got various silos. So we've got 2. The other ones, the horseshoe, were small silos. These are the mediums. These are both 1.1 million litres each, and again filled from the top, taken out from the bottom. And these 2 are 1.8 million litres each, so no shortage of bin space for crops. They're big fields. Depends what you plant, you could end up with a ton of stuff. But these are standard crop types as well. So you can't put root crops and stuff in. You might have to do root crop storages if you're going to do that type of thing. Now this is a curious one, because when I showed you in the build mode all the various different things, this is the Welker silo system. It's down as you can put in here, take out here, so more of a standard silo system rather than the bin ones where you've got to put in the top, take out the bottom. This is standard crop type, so I double checked it, but there's nowhere, it's not actually showing in here under silos, whereas the other ones are. So these 3 are. The horseshoe ones are made up of those small ones. And if we go across to our containers, that's where that seed one, which is this one on the end, that one's the seed one. This long one here actually isn't here under build mode, so I don't know what the capacity is. I would assume it's quite a lot, but it is standard crop types again. It's not a multi-fruit or anything like that. But that is the Welker silo system. So we go. Extra equipment and machinery just here. Yeah, that needs big old LSWs on it. Although that is the AF11. They don't run AF11s yet. I'm trying to think as well. I think they might have had a trial on one of those as well. It's so difficult to keep up with all the various different content creators. I watched Millennial Farms, I watched Cole the Corn Star, I watched Tom Pemberton Farm Life, I watched Welker Farms, and sometimes you might only get one video a week or a couple a week, and you can kind of keep up with them. But sometimes you get a whole load of stuff, and I was way behind on the Big Bud build, so I went back and watched all of that. And I was watching Mike Mitchell, but it got to the point I just couldn't keep up with everyone. You know, all the channels out there. And there's a few other people, not farming ones, but other channels I watch, like bushcraft stuff and things. I just don't have the hours. I can't keep up with it all. Anyway, we are now heading up to the northwest corner of the map and the final location we are going to be looking at. This plot can also be purchased, the whole plot. There are a couple of placeable points on here. There is a farmhouse, but when you buy the plot you don't get a sleeper wardrobe trigger, but again, you can place one if you want to. If you want this to be your home point, if you're playing multiplayer on here and you want to have your own farms, no reason why you couldn't do that. Nice big lake up here. I'm curious to see. I mean, I don't know how it will integrate. Silverrun was the same, but I'm thinking of the Highlands fishing thing. And Giants haven't really talked about or gone into detail about the solo fishing. They've talked about the, because you said you can fish on the shoreline, but they haven't really shown anything about that. And every time I see a pond or a lake or a river, I keep thinking, I wonder, once that comes out, Highlands fishing, link available if you want to download it in the description, whether that will be a backwards compatible thing, whether Giants will release the information on that so people could implement a fishing thing onto maps moving forward or retrospectively. I don't know if Giants will hold on to it. A little bit of gatekeeping may be going on, but anyway. So just here, we're up top here. We've got this placeable area there, and then this is the grain mill. I didn't show you on here because actually at the start I would normally come here and show you what we start with and what's available. There's only the grain mill and sawmill that are available on the map. But that's nothing to stop you putting in any other productions, because as you've seen, there are plenty of placeable locations to do that. Nice picturesque spot to finish off the map tour. There you go. There is the grain mill, standard, as is the sawmill. That is the map, Welker Farms by Mapper's Paradise. And I hope you found all of this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do, as always, thanks for watching.